Airports are designed to be safe, predictable and routine, but around the world some runways break all the rules. Perched on mountain cliffs, stretching over oceans or hidden between towering peaks, these landing strips test even the most skilled pilots. One wrong move could mean disaster. Today on FlyHigh Hub, we're taking you on a journey to the most dangerous runways in the world. Buckle up, it's going to be a turbulent ride. High in the Himalayas, perched at an altitude of 9,300 feet, lies one of the most terrifying airports on Earth, Lukla, officially known as Tenzing Hillary Airport. At only 527 metres long, the runway is less than half the size of what most commercial jets need. But that's not the worst part. On one end, the runway slams into a steep mountain wall. On the other, it drops straight off a cliff into the valley below. There is absolutely no chance for a second attempt. Pilots must get it right the first time. The air here is thin, engines lose power, and sudden Himalayan weather can turn clear skies into storms within minutes. Crosswinds and fog often blanket the area, making landings feel more like calculated risks than routine procedures. For climbers heading to Mount Everest, Lukla is the gateway to adventure. But for pilots, it's a test of skill, courage, and nerves of steel, one of the most dangerous runways in the world. From the snowy peaks of the Himalayas to the sunny beaches of the Caribbean, Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin looks like a tropical paradise, but it hides one of the most shocking runways in the world. At the end of the runway lies the famous Maho Beach, where planes fly just a few metres over the heads of sunbathers. The approach path forces aircraft to come in extremely low, creating a thunderous spectacle that attracts aviation fans and thrill seekers from around the globe. But while it may look fun for tourists, for pilots it's no easy feat. Crosswinds, unpredictable weather, and the extremely short 2,180-metre runway mean precision is everything. Overshoot the landing and you'll end up in the ocean. Come in too low and you risk clipping the airport fence or worse. For passengers, the final moments before touchdown are unforgettable. For pilots, every landing here is a test of skill. Princess Juliana proves that even paradise can be dangerous. Deep in the Himalayas lies Paro Airport, one of the most exclusive and dangerous airports in the world. Surrounded by towering peaks as high as 18,000 feet, the runway is nestled in a narrow valley that leaves almost no room for error. To even attempt a landing here, pilots must weave through jagged mountain ridges, banking sharply before lining up with the runway at the very last moment. The approach is so complex that only a handful of pilots worldwide are certified to land at Paro. There are no instrument landing systems to guide them. Everything is done by sight, relying purely on skill, timing, and experience. The runway itself is just over 6,500 feet long, and with unpredictable winds sweeping through the valley, even a perfect approach can turn treacherous in seconds. For passengers, the view of lush mountains and ancient monasteries is breathtaking, but for pilots, Paro is a white-knuckle challenge. Here, every safe landing feels like a small miracle. On the Portuguese island of Madeira, pilots face one of Europe's most unpredictable runways. Madeira Airport, also known as Cristiano Ronaldo International, juts out over the Atlantic Ocean, supported by dozens of giant concrete pillars, but it looks more like a bridge than a runway. The unique design was built because there simply wasn't enough flat land on the island. Strong crosswinds from the ocean sweep across the strip, forcing pilots to make difficult corrections as they descend. Add sudden turbulence from the surrounding mountains, and landings here can quickly turn into a battle between man and nature. The runway itself stretches just over 9,000 feet, but with waves crashing beneath and mountains looming nearby, pilots must stay completely focused. It's no wonder that Madeira is ranked among the most dangerous airports in Europe. For travellers, the landing offers spectacular views of cliffs and sea. For pilots, it's a test of nerves that demands nothing less than perfection. High in the French Alps lies Courchevel-Altipoort, an airport unlike any other. At just 537 metres long, the runway is so short that only small aircraft can use it, and even then, only the most skilled pilots dare to try. What makes Courchevel especially dangerous is its steep uphill slope designed to help planes slow down on landing. But this also means there's no chance for a go-around. If a pilot misjudges the approach, they can't power up and try again. They're committed the moment they line up. To make things even harder, the runway ends in a wall of snowy mountains, while the approach is often obscured by fog and harsh alpine weather. The airport serves as a gateway to one of Europe's most luxurious ski resorts, but it's far from glamorous for the pilots. Courchevel is listed as one of the hardest runways in the world, where every landing feels more like threading a needle in the clouds. In Central America lies Toncontín International Airport, a runway that has challenged pilots for decades. Toncontín is surrounded by rugged mountains, steep hills, and dense urban areas that leave almost no margin for error. To land here, pilots must make a sharp 45-degree turn at low altitude, threading through mountain valleys before quickly levelling out and touching down on a runway that's just over 2,000 metres long. Any mistake could mean overshooting into the city or, worse, the surrounding terrain. The airport has a history of accidents, and even experienced pilots approach it with caution. Strong crosswinds and the narrow valley make the approach one of the most technically demanding in the world. For passengers, the view out the window can be terrifying, seeing rooftops and mountains rushing by just before touchdown. Toncontín may not be the longest runway or the highest, but it remains one of the most dangerous, where every flight is a precision maneuver from start to finish. Some airports are dangerous because of mountains or storms. Gibraltar's danger comes from something far more unusual: a busy road. At Gibraltar International Airport, the runway actually crosses Winston Churchill Avenue, the main road in and out of the city. Every time a plane lands or takes off, traffic has to stop at barriers, just like a railway crossing. But the challenges don't end there. The runway itself is short, just 1,800 metres, and surrounded on one side by the Mediterranean Sea and on the other by the famous Rock of Gibraltar. Strong crosswinds are common, making approaches difficult, especially for larger aircraft. With cars, people, water and rock all so close, Gibraltar is one of the few runways in the world where danger doesn't just come from the skies, it comes from the ground too. On the tiny Caribbean island of Saba lies the world's shortest commercial runway, Juancho y Irausquin Airport. At only 400 metres long, the strip is barely longer than an aircraft carrier. On both ends, the runway drops off into the ocean, with cliffs rising sharply on one side. Only small aircraft like Twin Otters are allowed to land here, and pilots must be specially trained for the approach. There's no room for error. If a landing isn't perfect, there's simply nowhere to go. The runway has no space for larger planes, no margin for mistakes, and no second chances. For aviation fans, it's one of the most thrilling landings in the world. For pilots, it's a razor's edge between safe touchdown and disaster. Far to the north in Greenland lies Narsarsuaq Airport, a runway carved between icy fjords and towering mountains. Built during World War II, it was never meant to handle modern air traffic, yet it remains one of the most challenging airports still in use. Approaches here are complicated by unpredictable Arctic weather, dense fog, sudden snowstorms, and hurricane-force winds sweeping down from glaciers. The runway itself is just 1,800 metres long, and pilots must navigate a twisting fjord to line up with it, often in near-zero visibility. Icy conditions make braking difficult, and any mistake could mean sliding off into freezing waters. Narsarsuaq is a reminder that nature still rules in the Arctic, and even the best technology can't make this runway safe. Though it closed in 1998, Kai Tak Airport in Hong Kong still holds legendary status among pilots. Its approach was one of the most dramatic in aviation history. Planes had to fly low over the densely packed city, heading straight toward a giant checkerboard painted on a hillside. At the last second, pilots had to make a sharp right-hand turn just 2 miles from the runway before lining up for touchdown. With skyscrapers on one side, mountains on the other, and Victoria Harbour at the end, the margin for error was razor thin. Passengers could see straight into apartment windows as the aircraft banked steeply toward the runway. For decades, Kai Tak tested pilots like no other airport in the world. Today, Hong Kong's new airport is far safer, but Kai Tak will always be remembered as one of the most dangerous runways in aviation history. From Himalayan cliffs to Caribbean beaches, these runways prove that flying isn't always routine. For pilots, each landing is a test of skill, courage, and split-second decision-making. And for passengers, it's a reminder that sometimes the most unforgettable journeys begin or end on the world's most dangerous runways. Thanks for watching FlyHigh Hub. If you enjoyed this countdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next adventure into the skies.